All right. So this is the 10 minute speaking. So let's get started. So what advice do you have for college graduates? Certainly, I want you to apply for job as Solar City or Space or Tesla or SpaceX. And if not, then if it doesn't work for whatever reason, then you join other companies in that arena or just join join studying a company. If you study engineering and you figure out how to design new things, um, then it's relatively easy to start a company. You need to get a few like-minded people with you. I have to say that the space business is quite hard to start a company in space business because it's such a capital-intensive business. So it might better to do something on in solar power, or if you're gonna do it in cars, do it as kind of company supplier for cars or something like that. Musk has current degree in business and physics, but SpaceX is the first venture in aerospace. How do you get the expertise to be the chief technology officer of a rocket ship company? Well, I don't have a physics background as helpful as explanation. And then I read about books and talk to a lot of smart people. Not just, don't just follow, you may have a mistake. That's a good thing in terms of physics, core to first principles. Which is rather than reasoning by energy, it boils things down to the most fundamental truths you can imagine, and you reason up from there. It's a good way to figure out if if it really makes sense. If just whatever everybody else is doing, and how to think that way. You can't think that way about everything. It takes a lot of effort. But you're trying to do something new is the best way to think. I mean, this framework was developed by physicists to figure out alternative things like quantum mechanics. So it's really a powerful method. I want to know what is the one thing that has surprised you about your life? Well, actually, I'm surprised about the whole thing, honestly. Um, feel like it is better to be for any of these things to happen, honestly. Um, yeah, I just, I know I know what's a bit involved in technology. And in fact, the only reason I started the company back in '95 in internet companies was because I couldn't get in. There were few internet companies and I couldn't get a job at any of them. Um, I actually get a job at Skype and I sent my resume. I just hang out in the lobby, but want to try to talk to anyone. And was well like, okay, well, I guess I have to start a company. We're still gonna job anywhere. Thank you. I want to say I'm fearless. In fact, I feel quite strongly, but I know if the what doing isn't important enough, then just override the fear. So it's not a thought that I don't fear. I feel like more stronger than I look like. I think also people tend to overweight risk on personal level. It's one thing is good not to know more time to pay the kids to support, and what if you need to deviate from your job, then well, how are you going to feed your family and pay the rent? Okay, that's understandable. But let's say you're young and you're just coming out of college or from out of high school or whatever. What do you risk? What other stuff? I mean, is there is there not environment to live in somewhere eat food. No, what other people what they are afraid of? They are mostly afraid of failure. I think people should be less risk averse than there's not much risk. What is the question? Basically downloading data and algorithm into your brain, and actually amazingly bad in conventional education. So it shouldn't be like this huge chart. Like the more you can gamify the process of learning, the better. Who says lesson we're supposed to go trying to figure out what does all mean? And and I can you know what if we can analyze the knowledge of the world, we can do things that is better the scope and scale of consciousness. Maybe better able to ask the right questions and become more enlightened. And that's really the only way forward. The only way forward. What drives you? What is it like when you wake up in the morning, still see a problem and you want to solve it? Um, the thing that have drives me is that I want to be able to think about the future and feel good about that. So you know that we're doing that we can to have a future be as good be as good as possible, be as good as possible, and be inspired by what's likely to happen, and to look forward to the next day. So that what really drives me is trying to figure out how to make sure that things are correct. And I'm gonna be so, and that's the Atlanta P principle behind Tesla and SpaceX. Um, is that I think it's pretty important that we celebrate the transitions to sustainable generation and consumption of energy. It's inevitable, but it matters if they happen sooner or later. And SpaceX is about helping make life multi-planetary, and doing what we can to continue the dream of Apollo and ultimately make contribution to life becoming multi-planetary. Planetary. Let's talk more about that. I think everyone is very interested that when you say making life multi-planetary, planetary, exciting. It is exciting. What's your vision there? I think particularly for Americans, we do like think about it is American is a nation of explorers. Came here from other parts of the world and choose to give up the norm in favor of a norm. So I think exploration, like the state, is a distillation of human spirit of exploration, and that's why it appeals to Americans so much. You know, you can see this when this is a sort of charity and 7 people died. That's terrible, but a lot of people die all the time. But why we care so much? Because it was a dream of exploration that was dying along with those people. That's why. We talked about Tesla and SpaceX who failed at the beginning. You thought? Yeah, sure. Really? Of course. When you expect to lose it, and well, particularly what I thought was, well, I don't have the money from PayPal and I leave and lose half of them, and that's okay. Um, and then, of course, the companies encounter difficulties, and then I have a choice of either like let the company die or put all the money into the companies. And so I don't really want the company to die, so put all the money into the companies. Yeah, and then have to borrow money from friends to pay living expenses. Yes, just looking for evidence of exceptional ability, and this is a track record of exceptional achievement. A study that will continue into the future. Because it really depends on the stakes. The stakes high is really important. Then one should then overcome the fear and just do it anyway. Um, and instantly, I mean, I just drive fear, but the fear is kind of annoying. I wish I felt it less. Alright, so that's the end of this speaking for today. Uh, yeah, wait. Oh, imagine that I shall today become a student. Listen. Later.